Welcome to the Diva Details. Welcome to the Diva Details, where bold, confident women embrace life unapologetically. From love and sex to wellness and reinvention, we keep it raw, real, and powerful. No filters, no limits. Just fearless conversations to help you thrive. Let's dive in with Diva Mia.
Well, hello. This is Diva Mia. Today we're going to talk a little bit about weight loss drugs. They've been all the rage lately. In fact, the president has a discounted weight loss drugs. You're going to be hearing more and more about it soon, I think, as they're becoming very, very affordable, and insurance is going to be covering some of it for some people as well. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about the weight loss drugs. There's been different weight loss drugs over time, but the big rage right now is GLP-1s, Semaglutides, Trizepatides, those type of things are the big rage in weight loss. People are always looking for the magic pill, I think, whether it's, decreasing their cholesterol, losing weight. And they have one finally for weight loss that seems to work for most people. Now, I'm going to say most people, but not all. There are some side effects that we're going to discuss that you need to be very concerned about if you're going to go on one, and just keep a track of your body and how you're feeling. These medications, they curb appetite, but if you skip training, like strength training and exercise, you're going to lose a lot of muscle weight. Remember, it's a magic pill for weight loss, but you may lose weight, but after you're off of the medications, if you don't gain muscle mass during it, you may end up gaining the weight back and then some. Remember that. It does help with weight loss, but it does not guarantee you're going to be thin for the rest of your life. Make sure that while you're on these medications, you're still lifting weights, you're still lifting fairly heavy, you're still doing cardio, etc. And there's side effects. There's nausea. There's sometimes you get stomach issues. Sexually, sometimes your orgasms will change. Your skin might start to sag. They call it Ozempic face, when your skin starts to sag. And then you could also have some hormonal shifts, because it does change your hormones too, because as you lose weight, you're going to change your hormones too. So today, I want to kind of dive deep into the diet. Now, we have talked about weight loss drugs before, and I shared my story about how I had some side effects with it, and I'll touch on that basically today. But I do want everyone to understand that this is going to be a part of most people's lives. Now, I will say, out of every 3 people, I think at least one person that I know is currently on one of these medications, if they're in their 40s, 50s, or 60s. It's good to have people getting in shape and healthy, but I just want to caution you, it's not a magic bullet. If you're not going to work out, you'll gain it all back and then some. So diet and exercise is still going to be important, and so are supplements, okay? And then today I'm also going to tell you a little bit about other things you can do instead of GLP-1s to get a similar effect, all right? So let's dive in. And traditional methods have always been cut your calories. Now, we've talked about this last week, and we discussed how just cutting calories doesn't work because the quality and the macros matter as well. Just cutting calories, if you eat 1,000 calories of Doritos versus 1,000 calories of broccoli, you're going to gain a lot more weight from the Doritos. So realize that your cutting calories is not a end-all be-all. The quality of calories matter. The thing about a lot of these new GLP-1s, et cetera, is they're going to slow the emptying of your stomach. So when the emptying of your stomach is slowed, you tend to eat less food. So it basically allows the trigger in your mind that says, hey, am I full, to turn on. One of the other things that people have been doing a lot lately is intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting has been the rage. And so basically what you're doing is you decreased fasting to just a small window every single day. Maybe you go into a couple-day prolonged fasting here and there, but that's been a rage lately. And it's been working for a lot of people. So that does work. A lot of people don't want to do it, though. I think a lot of people would rather take a pill or a shot instead of doing that type of work. And then you got strength training, cardio, and that's the end-all be-all, that gives you the best overall physique as well. But lifestyle first has to change. You've got to look at your whole life. If you really want to get serious and lose weight, whether you're on these GLP-1s or not, you need to look at your whole life. You got to work on sleep. Sleep is amazing. If you can get high quality sleep, you will find that the weight comes off much easier because sleep helps you process out toxins. It helps you get rid of cortisol, which, is a stress hormone, which then cortisol leads to weight gain. It decreases your insulin while you sleep. All of these things help. It decreases your stress. Sleep is so very important. Stress management is important too. I mean, if you're trying to lose weight and you're stressed out, you're not going to lose weight. I know a lot of people that have been in bad relationships and they just gain weight because the relationship is so bad, or they're in a bad job and they gain weight from the job. Remember that if you're in stressful situations all the time, you're going to gain weight, and you need time to decompress, to relax, to recover, and then your hormones will start to balance. When you're stressed out, your cortisol's through the roof, which is a hormone, and your insulin goes through the roof, and you become insulin sensitive. The GLP-1s is supposed to help with this. I will say there's some really good medical research out there that shows that it does help with this. Then there's the people that do bariatric surgery. Bariatric surgery is kind of extreme. That's for the people that can't get a handle on their eating. They don't want to intermittent fast, or they can't. They don't feel like they can. They're going to chop up their stomach. So bariatric surgery is going to go through and it's going to decrease the size of your stomach, and they will help you lose weight. Now, a problem that people go through with bariatric surgery is a lot of them, when they're doing this, they get their gallbladder removed, because as soon as they slow down their eating, they're going to lose massive weight and they're going to have a gallbladder attack. Remember that bariatric surgery, you could also lose your gallbladder. There's other things. You could have other complications as well. A lot of people that have bariatric surgery, they lose weight so fast that they need to have skin surgery. Although there's people that don't do bariatric surgery that do skin surgery too. So just remember that. It's one of the other extreme options. I personally would, if someone can be on a GLP-1 versus a bariatric surgery and they get the same results, I think the GLP-1 would be a better route to go. Surgery seems so invasive to me to get to the same results. If you can get there on a GLP-1, great. And I think maybe what will happen is a lot of companies will want you to be on this first, or at least try it out. Then there's liposuction. Now, liposuction is not weight loss. Liposuction is for you to get the last 5-10 pounds reshaped. Maybe you've got a little bit of stubborn fat that's not coming off. That's what liposuction's before. It's not for weight loss. In fact, most places only allow you to take between 8 and 13 pounds, depending on your state, fat off at a time. It's not like you're going to go lose 20, 30 pounds via liposuction. Most states are very restricted because when you take too much fat out of somebody, it can cause blood clots and other problems. Liposuction is kind of more of a clean up what's you're done after your weight loss if you've got like little pockets of fat that are very difficult to get off. And then you may have to reconstruct your skin. After bariatric surgery, heck, even after GLP-1, if you lose a ton of weight, you may have to have a tummy tuck, you may have to have an arm lift, a leg lift, a boob lift, I don't know, a face lift, a neck lift. All of these things happen when you lose weight. And the thing is the faster you lose the weight, the more likely you're going to have skin surgery. So just realize that. Now, I know that water fasting, I'm going to throw that in, also helps with skin tightening while you're losing weight. There's that as well. But today's medication is the focus of the day. So we're going to focus on that. These meds will help accelerate your weight loss. They're really good at, it's going to help it. And I think a lot of weight loss for people is the speed. And I don't think anybody really talks about that. When you're on a diet, and let's say you had a lot of weight to lose, let's say you have 100 pounds to lose. If it's slow, and you know how they say lose 1 to 2 pounds a week, and that's great, but if you were like 10 to 15 pounds overweight, but if you're 100 pounds overweight and somebody tells you it's going to take 100 weeks of the same repetitive exercise to lose the weight, I don't think a lot of people have the patience for it. And I understand why intermittent fasting has taken off. I understand why prolonged fasting has taken off. And even the medications have taken off because people want to lose more than 1 pound a week or 2 pounds a week. And so they want to see immediate results. They want to make sure that all their efforts are coming to fruition. The best way to see immediate results with the fasting is the medications is to make sure you're working out as well. You'll see faster results. You'll get to your weight loss goals faster, and you're going to feel better too. It's going to keep you feeling better. So when you're in there, when you're losing the weight, make sure that you're also exercising when you're on these medications. So let's talk about the medications for a second. So we're going to talk about the GLP-1s, which it's a GLP-1 receptor agonist is what it is. There's a Semaglutide, there's a Trizepatide, there's a liraglutide. They're originally for type 2 diabetes, and the FDA has now approved them for weight loss for obesity. Some people that aren't even obese are on them. Some people that just have 10 to 20 pounds to lose go on them. And they basically will slow your stomach down. It's going to reduce appetite. It's going to increase feelings of fullness and reduce your hunger. Now, I went on them because it's also supposed to decrease your liver enzymes, but you can have side effects when you have liver issues. Just be aware of that. Most people that go on these are seeing a weight loss of 10 to 20%. If you're 200 pounds and you go on one of these semaglutide, you'll probably get down to anywhere from 180 to potentially up to 160. That's a pretty good weight loss, 40 pounds for someone that's 200 pounds. The next one is the Trizepatide. Now, this is actually a dual agonist. The Tirzepatide will give you even higher and faster weight loss. It hits multiple different pathways at the same time. It hits the GLP-1 and it hits GIP, which if you can hit multiple ways to lose weight, you're going to lose weight faster. So the key point for this is to make sure that, these drugs reduce appetite, they reduce food intake, but you're still going to need to exercise. Okay, don't forget to exercise. Because the people that get the Ozempic face and the people that get the really saggy skin from this, it's because they're not exercising. They're relying on the magic pill and they forget that weight loss, you also need to gain muscle. You want fat loss, not muscle loss during this whole thing. Because if you're getting a bunch of muscle loss, you're shooting yourself in the foot. So while the drugs, they reduce your appetite and food intake, the exercise and the strength is going to keep the shape of your body. How you look is just as important as much as you weigh. If you're all skin and no muscle, it is not attractive. Honestly, there's been people that have been anorexic and they get so bony and they have so much skin hanging off of them. That's so unattractive. So make sure to keep your body toned. Make sure to keep your muscles where they need to be. I think you'll do better. There is a new Trump website that's going to allow you to purchase your weight loss medicine at an extreme discount. They're talking as low as $50 with insurance. Most medications are going to go down 60 to 95%. I don't know. I think the website is coming out this week. You still need to have a licensed physician prescribing it. Just beware of that. But it's going to allow you to purchase at a big discount. A lot of people have been paying anywhere from $1,000 to $3,000 a month for these medications. And if they can get them now for a couple $100 to $50, it's going to change the game for a lot of people that are obese and overweight. Because the reality is a lot of people that are obese and overweight they're in the lower income as well. So now you have the ability to decrease your weight, which obesity leads to so many other diseases, to cancer, heart disease. So it is a good thing overall. So getting back to the Trump website. So he basically struck a deal with Wegovy and Zepbound, and the price is now going to be $50 to $350 depending on dosage and insurance. This is a huge deal, and Zepbound is one of the Trizepatides, so this is going to be really good for people that really want to lose weight fast. And this discount plan is going to be huge. And they have other diabetic GLP-1s that they're going to do for $245 to $50 a month as well. If you're on Medicare, you're not going to pay over $50 a month. That's really big. That's a huge discount for people. And they just negotiate it with the insurance, not like it's subsidized by the taxpayers. This is something that's really good for people overall because now you're decreasing lean on healthcare. This could have ripple effects throughout the industry. It could have ripple effects through all kinds of medicine because if there's less people going to the emergency room with heart attacks, if there's less people having, chronic diseases from obesity, this is going to be a really good thing for our country overall. It could save the health industry billions. It's going to be a big saver. And with the cost of insurance going up, it could help drive down the cost of regular insurance. We will see how this plays out. But it's actually a good thing for the country overall. We should all be cheering this on. This is a great thing to actually have in place. GLP-1s, they're going to lower the risk of heart disease. They're going to help decrease your chance of having a heart attack. That is huge for people that have a history of heart disease. Some data is showing that it could also help cognitive abilities. Dementia could decrease. There's other benefits to these GLP-1s. So if your dementia goes down, chances of brain health, Alzheimer's, those things may decrease. Then, of course, your insulin sensitivity, which means you're going to control your glucose levels better. Glucose leads to body fats and fatty livers. Your liver could be healthier. It'll help with your cholesterol. All those things are really important when you're doing these. I know that when you have liver issues, you're going to have elevated lipids in your blood. It comes with the territory. If you can decrease that potential, then you're going to do better. If you can decrease the odds of having a fatty liver, your whole body will do better. It's going to improve your metabolic health overall. Your hormones are probably going to balance out better as well. You may have better sexual health, but some people have worse. That is a side effect. Some people may have better sexual health. Honestly, guys, if you're in better shape and you're more limber, you're going to have better sexual health anyway. It's just the way it is. Get in shape, lose some weight, and you'll have better sex. You're going to have more energy for sure, because if you're not carrying around as much weight, you're not as lethargic. It's going to help with that. It's going to help with fatigue. The visceral fat, too, the stuff around your belly. The visceral fat's what's around your belly. And the thing is a lot of people don't realize that the visceral fat is the most deadly. It leads to different types of autoimmunes, cancer, high blood pressure, heart disease. The more likely you get the visceral fat down, the healthier you're going to be. And it's going to help you with body confidence. And honestly, come on, if you lost 10 pounds around your waist, wouldn't you feel more confident? And your body composition overall will go down, which means your natural age. This could help with longevity, guys. That's what the big thing is if people can live longer because of these GLP-1s, that's a good thing for everyone. We'll keep the people around that have the experience and expertise in the world longer, but they're not magic, okay? And if you're going to be on one of these, you've got to understand that there are side effects. This is the Ozempics out there. Some of the common side effects are nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, constipation, and you're going to have a reduced appetite. Just don't do this around. Don't go on a GLP-1 the day before Thanksgiving. It would not be advisable. If you lose weight too fast, you're going to get Ozempic face, period. Some people are actually doing fat transfers from their other parts of their body to their faces now because of the Ozempic face that's happening. So there may be some plastic surgery you have to do after this. So just realize that. You can have, and it's rare, but I tend to have rare side effects, pancreatitis, where your pancreas has a problem, gallbladder disease or a gallbladder attack, and then gut issues afterwards, and can also impact your kidneys because you're processing a lot of fat fast. I had a gallbladder attack because I had one of the rare side effects within 2 weeks of being on this. I didn't lose any weight in 2 weeks, and then I ended up having a gallbladder attack. Just realize that's a possibility. If you're also out there, if you're high risk for thyroid cancer, be careful because it has led to thyroid cancer. If you have a history in thyroid, I don't know if I would recommend this. You might want to talk to your doctor. Of course, talk to your doctor on all this. You got to get a referral from them. But thyroid cancer is a possibility. Always speak to your doctor dosing as well because you're going to change doses. The doses change as you go through the cycle. But I will say the people that have been on this and stay on it for over a month or so, they seem to like it. I will say if they're not having side effects, they seem to enjoy the consistent weight loss, but realize it can affect your hormone levels, okay? Energy levels. Hopefully it increases your sex drive, but it may not. It depends on the person. You could have the rapid weight loss if you're not strength training. I'm telling you guys, you're going to really regret it later because your metabolic rate will actually shift downward. When you go off this medication, you'll gain weight back. Just try to keep your muscle mass up. And muscle takes time to grow. It does take time to grow. It's not overnight. It's not like you can go to the gym once and you gain like 50 pounds of muscle. Muscle takes time to grow. And you probably want to grow 5 pounds of muscle or so while you're on this or more. So you need to talk to your doctor to see if you're eligible first. Are you eligible? Do you have any comorbidities? Because they're not going to give it to everybody just because they want to lose 5 pounds, all right? Your BMI has to be a certain level. You have to be considered overweight or obese, I believe. And you have to have other comorbidities, like do you have high blood pressure? Do you have high lipids? Do you have autoimmune? Do you have any other types of issues? And they will check your hormones a lot of times just to make sure. They're going to check your liver, kidneys, thyroid hormones. They're going to check all that just to make sure that they know where you're at and where you can go into. Just because you have a liver issue, guys, doesn't mean they're going to stop. They gave it to me and I had a liver issue. We were doing it thinking that we would actually get a decrease to my liver enzymes, but it did not work. So, but what happens after you stop? If you don't have that muscle, again, you're going to gain weight. Just realize that. The cost has gone up. I mean, the cost is pretty high still, but it's going to go way down very quickly. You also need to work probably with a dietitian or someone that can help you with your diet. Most people say to stay away from the carbs, even on this. Decrease your carbs, increase your protein, gain some muscle mass, you'll do better off. And then we got to talk about the macronutrients. Okay, you have to have adequate protein no matter what. That's so important. If you're going to be working out and lifting weights, you need extra protein anyway. So last time on our podcast, we talked about how you need to have 1 gram of protein for every pound of body weight that you want or pound you want to weigh. So if you want to weigh 120 pounds, you should be eating 120 grams of protein a day. You can go lower to like 0.75 or 0.8. But if you're trying to maintain a healthy body, that's where you need to be. You need to have those healthy fats for your hormone production as well. And then don't forget the food, the veggies for fiber to help process all the toxins out when you're losing weight. I know people that go 100% on protein, and then they wonder why they don't lose weight, and they feel like crap because they don't have any fiber that's pushing all the toxins out of their digestive system. You want to make sure you stay hydrated, make sure you keep your electrolytes, and make sure that you're eating plenty of high fiber fruits and vegetables. Now, fruits, not so much because you're trying to lose weight, but you should still have a little bit of fruit, and then have lots of fibrous, probably cruciferous type vegetables from broccoli, from kale to cauliflower to arugula is cruciferous. There's lots of different cruciferous vegetables that are really good. If you're doing a lot of cleansing, I really like arugula because it helps your liver cleanse too. Try to stay with lots of cruciferous vegetables while you're doing a high protein diet on these different types of weight loss medications so that you can also keep yourself healthy overall and feel well. And it'll also speed up your weight loss. Don't forget that food is medicine. It really is. Food can help with any type of thing that you're doing, so keep the food as medicine. And then remember, you're going to have a decreased appetite, but you've also got to manually decrease your portions. I think a lot of times people are just habitually used to filling up their plate, like overfilling it sometimes. Don't be going to a buffet while you're trying to lose weight. Honestly, buffets, I think, or those all-you-can-eat sushi places, don't do that if you're on one of these medications. You'll make yourself sick. You'll probably throw up if you do that. Don't go to a buffet. Try to cut back on your portion sizes and learn a new portion size, because what the portion size is going to be your new lifestyle going forward once you get off this medication. Remember that. You can still have flavors that you like, but just decrease your portion sizes and try to avoid a crash diet. Like, you still have to eat protein. Try not to do so much. If you're doing fasting, it's probably not a good idea to do one of these medications. But you got to avoid the low calorie, the crash diets, because you're going to lose muscle mass. It's just the way it is. Your metabolism will slow down. The other thing is meal timing. Now, I don't think enough people understand meal timing. You're going to want to eat protein after you work out. You're going to want to emphasize, nutrients on timing and support and recovery. But here's the thing. A lot of people work out in the morning and then they have their protein. If you're working out at night, this is going to be a little bit more difficult, but it's still manageable. You don't want to eat 3 or 4 hours before bed. You want at least a 3-hour break after your last meal before you fall asleep. Here's the thing. Here's the reason why. You want your body to relax. You want to have a good night's sleep. You want it to be restful. You want to have your liver process out and take a break. So when you're eating right before bed, your digestive system's working all night long. It may make you uncomfortable. You might have to get up and go to the restroom multiple times a night. You may have liver issues from it. If you're eating late at night, it's not healthy. And I really wish, honestly, they would move the dinner time up to 4 instead of 5. But that's just me. But 5 o'clock is like the last time I will ever do dinner, because I don't like late dinners because it's not good for your digestive system. I mean, you may want to skip dinner. You may just want to do breakfast and lunch and have a light snack for dinner. And that will help as well as far as losing weight. That's going to be additional too. A lot of people have, especially when you're slowing down the emptying, that food's going to sit in your stomach longer. You don't want it sitting in your stomach all night long. You want it processed and out of the way. Just remember that. Some people get constipated, severely constipated with this too. Make sure you're drinking extra water, taking extra electrolytes, and you may need to add more fiber, or like more broccoli fiber, or you may have to add more other types of laxatives like Dulcolax or something. You may have to do that in order to make this work for you. The food quality still matters, guys. It really does still matter. When you are losing weight, you need to keep eating low inflammatory foods, things that are like cruciferous vegetables, things that support your hormones, like certain kinds of healthy proteins. You want to keep the inflammation down as much as possible, and you want to keep the insulin down, which insulin is inflammatory. Try to keep the inflammation increasing foods. If you want, listen to the last podcast of last week, because what we talked about was how to make sure that you don't eat anything that you're sensitive to with food. Then don't forget to recover your post-nutrition recovery after your workouts. Don't forget to, have vegetables and hydrate and have electrolytes after your workouts, not just protein. That's important too. And leucine is a great one too. Leucine's another supplement you can take to help after you work out, to help you burn fat. Women often between 30 and 65, we're just so busy. We're juggling so much. Our stress levels are so high. but we've got to remember to meal prep. And everybody out there, if you're trying to lose weight, you need a meal prep. You can't just daily say, I'm just going to go to the fridge and find whatever I want. If you're on these different types of Trizepatides and Semaglutides, you're going to want to have your meals prepped so that your macro loads. This is a process, guys. Don't expect this just to magically make you thin. It's going to help with the process and speed it up, but it's not a magic bullet. Strength training is non-negotiable. It's going to help you keep your muscle growth. It's going to boost your metabolism. It's going to make you look good. And I think looking good is just as important as feeling good, as being healthy. Your appearance matters. Your body shape will change as you lift weights. Your bone density, guys. If you're in your 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, you need strong bones, especially for women that have gone through menopause. Lifting weights really helps with that. Strength training also helps with your hormones. It helps balance out some of your hormones. Now, a lot of people are going to be on hormones. We're going to have a podcast on that about different types of hormones to go on. But nonetheless, it's going to help balance out your hormones naturally. I would recommend everyone out there is training a minimum of 3 to 4 days a week. Now, some people like focus training. Some people like to do full bodies every single day. It depends on what your goals are. Some people like to do CrossFit. Some people like to do deadlifts and heavy lifting. And some people like to just go in and work a couple body parts. I like to do push one day, pull one day, legs another day, and abs every day. And I do a 6-day split. For some people, that's too much. For some people, 3 days is enough. It depends on what you're looking for. Now, if you like to do CrossFit, try to do CrossFit maybe once every day. CrossFit is usually 20 to 30 minutes. Or people are playing pickleball. Well, pickleball is great for your cardio, but what are you going to do for your muscle mass? Make sure you have a nice balanced approach. And here's the thing. Maybe you're a couch potato. Maybe you never exercise. You're completely lethargic. You feel tired all the time and you're not working out. Let's say you're 100 or 200 pounds overweight. Maybe start with just walking and some light weights. You can just carry water bottles around the house too and do bicep curls and tricep curls. Start slow. What will happen is you'll see a quick improvement. Just dedicate and be consistent. That's the big thing. If you can dedicate and be consistent, the weight's going to start to come off. Maybe the first day you can only walk a block, and then the second day you walk 2 blocks, and every day you add a block. I don't know, but you're going to feel so much better when you start to move your body. I am shocked at how little people move. Something only like 15% are consistent at working out every single week. Why is that? If you need an accountability partner, go hire yourself a trainer and work out 2 or 3 days a week with them. Do something so you can consistently work out, because the bigger you get, the worse your sexual health is, the worse your physical health is, the quality of your life goes down, you can't think straight. Don't you want to keep your mind as sharp as possible for as long as possible? I think that's important with quality of life. Eating a bunch of carbs, processed foods, and sugars is going to take it down the wrong path. So remember that as you're losing weight, let's retransform our whole body. Think about the growth in the human population if everybody can get their minds back and focused. This will help the overall everything in this country. Then don't forget some HIIT training. HIIT training is where you're moving quickly through different strength training exercises. It's great for conditioning, but your recovery time is shortened. So like some days I do HIIT training where I just go from muscle group to muscle group to muscle group, and I'll train multiple muscle groups at the same time. And this is really good for your overall cardiovascular. I would recommend at least 1 day a week doing HIIT training, maybe 2. If you can do high intensity training, it's a really good thing for your body as well. Mobility is the new rage. Everyone is talking about, let's make sure we have no mobility. And I think a lot of it is people in our age group, guys, are having hip replacements and knee replacements and all kinds of things replaced. I think a lot of it could be avoided with extensive stretching. Now, there are places that have popped up that are stretch labs where you go and they just stretch the heck out of you for an hour. The problem is we need to be stretching every day. It's not just a 1 day a week thing. You need to stretch every day. People are doing yoga more. It's not just for women anymore. Men are doing it too. Then there's stretch classes that are popping up everywhere. There's stretch groups. There's mobility videos that you can follow in order to keep your mobility. I think the more movement you can do on a daily basis, the happier you will be. Now, if you have a partner, I would recommend that you try to do some things with your partner, because it's time away from your relationships. It's time away from your kids. If you have kids, try to have your kids involved in your health. Here's the thing too. If you get your kids involved at a young age, they're going to be more accepting of exercise. They're going to be more productive with exercise. They're going to want to do exercise more often for the rest of their lives. That's what we want. We want healthy children that grow into healthy adults anyway. But these medications can also interact. Remember, this is going to help with stress reduction, your mobility will. This is going to help with your nervous system, etc. But these medications, you have to realize, can interact and with other medications. You have to go through your doctor on this. You really need to. Because when your appetite is suppressed and you're losing weight, you may need your other medications adjusted as well. You don't want to be lethargic because you're losing so much weight that you don't have enough energy to function. Now, the other thing is they recommend not to skip meals. Now, they recommend at least 2 and then up to 3 meals a day. You could do 2 meals and a snack or 3 meals because you're still going to want to eat because you're still going to get hungry. But don't overtrain with this. Try not to overtrain because your bone health and hormone health is also important. I think women, a lot of times we forget that resistance training builds bones and it keeps you upright. It gives you a better posture. It helps you walk better. With all the broken hips and all the broken knees and all the broken shoulders and everything else that starts to break, arms and things like that as we get older, weightlifting will eliminate a lot of these problems, guys. Just realize that. This medication is just a window of an opportunity for a little bit. Here's the thing. It's not a forever. You're not going to be on this medication forever, and you shouldn't be. You go up in dose, and then you actually come down in dose, and then you go into a maintenance dose, and then you go off it eventually. Hopefully, you can maintain. Hopefully, you've built up your weight training, you've got a new diet plan, how to portion control better, and you're able to move forward in life without gaining the weight back. That's the goal. That's the goal. Because this is a lifestyle change. It's not just a quick fix, guys. A lot of people, I think, still think it is a quick fix. Here's the other thing. On this medication, you're going to hit plateaus. I know a lot of people that I've talked to that are on this, they plateau out and then they have to increase the meds. They have to move more. They have to, figure out maybe they should change their food up, decrease the carbs or something. You're going to have plateaus in this just like in any weight loss program. And then there's the emotional component of it that people don't talk about with weight loss. Now, I'm convinced, and this may just me, that as you lose weight, like your tissues have memory. I've lost weight sometimes where I've gotten emotional and I don't know why I'm getting emotional. Maybe I dropped like 5 pounds in a week and I got really emotional. I'm like, wow, I wonder what was going on when I was gaining the weight. Was there an emotional hormone that was present when that fat was stored? Was I sad at that time frame when I was gaining that weight? You may have an emotional change. And as you lose weight, some people don't realize how they look. And some people see themselves as super skinny forever. And some people see themselves as super fat. When they lose the weight, they have that emotional mental concept that they have to get through. You may need some therapy on this. You may need some psychological support or some coaching because you're going to need to change your wardrobe. You're going to need to change your self-image, your identity, how you feel about yourself. It can help with your self-respect too. There's a lot of good things that happen when you're on these medications. Just remember that. A lot of good things happen. And then there's the natural ways. Now, you know how big I am about natural health and natural healing. And there's natural ways to increase your GLP-1s. In fact, there's been some different supplements that I've seen come out that have, this is a GLP-1 support or GLP-1 mimicking. There's supplements that can help with that. Like berberine, for instance. Berberine decreases your insulin. It's going to decrease your blood sugars to trigger insulin. Berberine is one of those good ones that you take berberine, it kind of acts like a smaller version of GLP-1. Metformin has been one that a lot of diabetics have stayed on because it's very similar. There's different things that will help decrease your insulin sensitivity, that will help decrease the insulin flow into your bloodstream. Just realize that. If you're trying to mimic like the way GLP-1 is, you need a high fiber diet, okay? That's going to help slow food emptying anyway. Broccoli and cauliflower, that's going to help. You're going to leverage your protein. The higher the protein, the more satiated you are and the more muscle you'll grow. So that's going to help as well. It's going to naturally mimic appetite control. Then focus on like foods that are low on the glycemic index, if about those, and that are more nutrient dense. The more nutrient dense they are, the more likely it's going to decrease your blood sugar. Now, some people even juice. Juicing is also good for this because it's very nutrient dense if you're juicing a lot of vegetables. Then supplements. Here's some of the supplements that people are taking that are similar. If you're going to go all natural, this is a great way. You can take psyllium, any type of fiber supplement. Green tea. So it has EGCG, which is a metabolism booster. Most people know that drink a lot of green tea about the EGCG. It is just a big metabolic booster. You can drink a couple cups of green tea and this will help as well. Now, if you are on GLP-1 or on any of these, you can also do these natural things to help support your body. So you could drink green tea even though you're on it. And then don't forget your gut health and your microbiome. I can't say enough about your gut health and your microbiome because it is linked to weight loss. They have taken people, and they've done studies on this, and they take somebody that's heavily overweight and somebody that's very thin, and they feed them the same calorie diet. And they do a reduced calorie diet first, and what happens is the person that's very thin loses weight, and the person that's overweight doesn't lose very much weight. Then they give them different, like an increased calorie diet. And what tends to happen is the person that's thin doesn't gain weight and may even lose weight, depending on what they give them. But the heavy person gains a lot of weight from the increased calorie diet. And what they found is it's related to your microbiome and the bacteria that's in your stomach. So there's a lot of evidence leading to that. We beat the heck out of our guts there's chemicals in dishwashing soap, I learned, that can mess with your gut biome. So the ethoxylates, or what's in dishwasher detergent, can damage your gut's natural protective lining of your gut, which is a problem if you're trying to lose weight because that messes with your gut biome as well. So realize there's a lot of things out there that we have, and chemicals, even some of the chemicals that we clean with, we put, and parabens on our skin. There's a lot of things we do to ourselves and don't even realize it because it's just so normalized now. Work on your gut biome if you can. Get some good probiotics. I personally like to make my own yogurt. There's different types of yogurt that you can make. It takes about 2 days to make it. There's a bacteria called ruterin, and it is key to metabolic function. And it's kind of one of those great probiotics that people have, and they're linking that right now to people that are thin and they have a lot of it versus people that are overweight. They don't have as much of it. Ruterin is great. It also helps with production and vitamin B12. It's vitamin B12 dependent. You need to make sure you're having vitamin B12 when you're taking it. When you take some of these probiotics and make your own yogurt and things, you can make your own ruterin yogurt. The reason why we make our own yogurt is because a lot of the yogurts out there on the market, they don't have very much probiotic in them. They're not fermented for as long as some of these others. When that happens, the L-reuteri that we get in yogurt, it's going to be decreased. If you even get L-reuteri at all, it's going to help you with fermenting carbohydrates too into other products. I probably will have a bacteria podcast if we can in the future, but I think that L-reuteri is probably one thing that everybody should be taking, even if they're not making their own yogurts. If you're trying to lose weight, look into it. Look into L-reuteri. Just add it to your list of possible things that you need to be taking. Again, so we've got fixing our gut health, probiotics, green tea. Maybe think to yourself, oh my gosh, there's a lot to think of. There's always been a lot to think of when it comes to your health. You can either help yourself now and get in shape now, or you're going to pay for it later. You're going to pay for it by bad health and being dependent on other people. And I don't think most people want to be there. There's also adaptogens, okay? This is going to balance your hormones. So things like ashwagandha and rhodiola, they decrease your stress a lot, and they're actually healthy for you. They help you overall with your hormone balance. And then don't forget collagen. Here's the thing. If you're taking collagen's going to help your skin contract. If you're losing a lot of weight and you take collagen, your skin health is going to be better. So instead of adding a bunch of whey protein, maybe look into adding some collagen proteins into your protein powders. If you're doing protein powder at all, or take collagen on the side. It's going to help your muscles as well as recover your skin health. It's very important if you're females. If female, I would add collagen in for sure. Then think about doing, if you're not on the supplement, if you're not on the medications, think about doing intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting is helping a lot of people still lose weight. You can do a 16-8 where you're fasting for 16 hours. Now, honestly, a 16-8 to me I don't know if that's much of a fast, or you can do an 18-6 where you're only eating for 6 hours out of every 24 hours. You're fasting for 18. 24 is where I see most people doing better, where you're eating for 4 hours a day and you're fasting for 20. I don't know. Honestly, if you're eating for more than 8 hours a day, how do you eat that much? People that do it 16-8, no one should be eating for more than 8 hours a day. Honestly, personally, I look at that, I'm like, how are you eating for more than 8 hours a day? But anyway, and then there's alternate day fasting where you eat one day, you fast the next. You eat one day, you fast the next. And that's where you're going to probably want to get to if you're doing intermittent fasting. And you're going to vary it because, again, your body will adapt. When your body adapts, you're going to have to change up your fasting routine. And there's prolonged fasting where you do 2 to 40 days or longer. That's for people. No, a lot of times if you're over 5 days, you should probably be medically supervised. Some people say if you're over 3 days, you should be medically supervised. It's going to depend on your medical condition. Just remember all those types of things are going to be important. If you're on a lot of medication, you need to talk to your doctor before you do any extended fasting because a lot of medications can be impacted by fasting. If you're on high blood pressure, if you're on statins, those type of things, talk to your doctor talk to your doctor anyway if you're on any pharmaceuticals before you fast. But fasting definitely reduces your insulin levels, and that's a similar thing that happens with the GLP-1s, et cetera. And it's going to increase fat mobilization. So what's going to happen when you fast? Your body's going to start going after your fat. That's the first thing it goes after. It doesn't go after muscle first. When you're fasting, now this is not reduced calorie. When you're fasting, like no food at all, your body's going to go for your fat first. That's what it does because it's the easiest to mobilize. Now, it will, over a long term, go after your muscle too, but that's if it can't get to your fat. So your body does like to go for its fat first. When on medication, you really need a doctor's oversight. I can't say that enough. The calorie deficit can impact your amount of prescription medications you need to be on. And as you lose weight, you're going to have those adjusted anyway. And you may need to have plastic surgery. It's a possibility. It's a possibility in any of these weight loss. If you've had a lot of weight to lose, if you've had over 50 pounds of weight to lose, you may need plastic surgery, period. If you want to get your skin back to a normal level. Just remember that might need to be in your budget as well as you're losing weight. There's lots of different ways to lose weight. I would say if you're going to be doing the natural weight, you're going to be focused on decreasing your insulin, decreasing your inflammation, increasing muscle mass through exercise and lifting weights, and decreasing your stress and sleeping more. That's a natural way to help as well. And here's the thing, even if you're on GLP-1s, you need to do that anyway. The weight loss medications are powerful, but they're not a standalone solution. There's benefits to losing weight just because you're going to have a better metabolic health. Your hormones will be balanced and your sex health will be better. And sex is important, guys. It truly is. Your energy levels will be better. Don't forget that all of these things and your mental capacity could be better too. Think about that. You lose some weight, your mental capacity could improve. Fasting helps with that as well as do some of these medications. But you're going to still have to do strength training and you're still going to have to make sure you have enough recovery time as you're doing this. Because you may get inflamed sometimes from these medications. They're supposed to decrease inflammation, but it doesn't for everyone. Again, you could have liver issues, you could have kidney issues, you could have all types of pancreas issues. You could have thyroid cancer from this. Just keep an eye on your blood work. If you're doing these types of medications, you need to have your blood work run consistently. If your doctor's not running your blood work consistently, then you need to probably find a different doctor, just to say the truth, because blood work's important to run whenever you're on any of these types of medications. Then don't forget to ignore your side effects. When you have side effects, you have to go to your doctor and tell them. They can't read your mind. And I think a lot of people think, oh, well, my doctor would have told me about this. No, if you have any side effects that's not normal, tell them. Because doctors can't read your mind. They don't know what you're going through on a daily basis. You have to keep them informed. And then, again, there's alternative approaches, just working with your food, your strength, and fasting. But if you have not been able to lose weight because you haven't had the willpower or the discipline to do so in the past, these might be a good way to get you kick-started. So I encourage everybody, if you're going to do these types of medications, to go talk to your medical provider. I encourage you to get your lab work done and then subscribe to this podcast. And this will help other people too. If you're going to do this, maybe do it with a friend and you can do your weight loss journey together. I hope this helped today. I really do. I hope that you can garner from this that you can do this. Everyone can do this. It's going to be a lot cheaper for people to do this very, very soon. Taking the pill or the shot, depending on what type of medication you get, is not the only solution. You're going to have to still work out. You're still going to have to do exercises. You're still going to have to walk. And the more you work out and the more you walk, et cetera, the happier you're going to be anyway. So this is Diva Mia. Let me know in the comments if I can do anything to help you. Let me know if you need support in any way. Also, let us kind of know what your journey's been like. It's kind of nice to know what happens to other people along the way and along their journey. Have a wonderful week. This is Diva Mia signing off. Take care. Ciao, ciao.
Thanks for tuning in. Like, subscribe, and drop a comment. We love hearing from you. Visit thedivadetails.com to connect. See you next week for more.
Diva Details podcast and website are intended solely for informational and entertainment purposes. The content provided does not constitute professional, medical, financial, or legal advice. We are not licensed medical practitioners, financial advisors, or legal professionals. Always consult with a qualified healthcare provider for medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Any financial topics discussed are based on personal opinions and experience and should not be considered professional advice. The content provided does not constitute legal advice. The Diva Details and its affiliate contributors and guests are not liable for any losses or damages arising from the use of our content. The opinions expressed in the podcast are solely those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views of any affiliated organization, sponsors, or partner. All facts discussed in the podcast are researched and accurate to the best of our knowledge at the time of recording. Information may change over time. No guarantees are made regarding the accuracy, completeness, or reliability of any statements or opinions presented. It is the responsibility of the listener to verify any and all facts that may influence their decision. This podcast is for information and entertainment purposes only and should not be considered professional advice.